What up, peeps? Back with another Alliance War vid, Season 18, War number 10. We're facing UK Legends Reborn. Tough alliance, but we got some interesting fights, so let's jump into it. So here I'm taking my usual Path 9, Aegis, and then inverted controls in Section 2. I'm bringing Torch in, Warlock, and as you can see, there's a problem with my roster because I actually have a 4-star SS, which is for the main boss, which is not a good thing. But yeah, let's go ahead and start these fights and see how it goes. So first up, we have Darkhawk on Aegis, and actually Human Torch is a pretty good matchup for Darkhawk because once above 10 degrees temperature, Human Torch can't miss. So Darkhawk's shield mode, stealth mode doesn't really phase Human Torch. And I just want to place my incinerates here. And here, man, he's running limber, so it could almost caught me off guard. But I get rid of the charges here, and I basically just want to keep my temperature above 10. I take this SP1 to keep my temperature up. I'm going to just beat him in the corner at this point and lay incinerates. Here he throws my parry game off, but I re-parry and just continue to pound him. And that's it. Just let the incinerates do its job. He's really a good matchup for Darkhawk. He truly is. Human Torch has a lot of utility. He's just one of my favorite characters in the game. So Darkhawk goes down. Next up, we have Mordo on Aegis, which is a typical defender here. And here, Mordo, I'm just trying to take some block damage to build up my smolders, keep my temperature up. I want to manage his power gain cycle. So here you're going to see me block. I'm not worried about the Aegis yet. I just want to block now his power gain, and I want to beat into him and reset it. Now I want to back myself into the wall. My temperature's up, smolder's up, and now get rid of the Aegis charges. So it's going according to plan. I let his power gain get him up to 2 bars here because I can just bait that special 2 out. Here he throws it. Now I just want to lay my incinerates on him as much as possible and just let him melt. Just let him melt. We all know Torch is great against Mystics, so nothing special there. The next fight coming up, we scouted. And this fight was going to be, let's see. And as you can see, we scouted, it's going to be an Ebony Maw, which for Torch is a great problem to have. So again, with Aegis, with Torch against Ebony Maw, again, above 10 degrees temperature, he can't miss. So when he goes into falter state, I can still touch him. So here I just build up some temperature, parry, get rid of the charges. Ebony Maw, you can't really parry him, so I'm trying to re-parry here and just get some incinerates into him to finish this fight. It's pretty much that simple. Nothing too amazing here. I just want to lay incinerates on him as much as possible. And Ebony Maw goes down. Next fight, we're going to speed this up because we had quite a few fights. We get node 22, I believe it is. So we're going to move on to that. Fast forward to section 2. So yeah, like I said, Colossus on node 22. We're just going to skip through this fight. Warlock takes it. No problem. And I apologize for not showing Warlock play, but Warlock actually takes 2 mini bosses in this war, well 3. So you'll see some of that gameplay a little later. So let's move on to section 2 and take a look at those. So now we're moving on to my path in section 2, path 9, inverted controls. We have a OG Spidey right here. I'm taking in Warlock. Basically, I just want to apply infections. So I'm going to start the fight, parry, parry, parry. It's really a simple fight. I'm just going to parry, hit him with a couple heavies, put a bleed on him just to get the fight over. Had a little trouble reparrying OG Spidey because I like to, push him to his SP1, but I don't, I hate dodging it. I can, but I'd much rather just hold my block and reparry him. You see me doing that here, and he throws a heavy there, throws another heavy. Here, I finally able to reparry him, but that's basically it to this fight. The next fight up is a little special for me on this season. Not a big fight or anything like that. So this fight is my 102nd fight of the season. But it's a sort of a milestone for this season. It's my 100th victory or kill. We got Nightcrawler on inverted controls. I get this placement, but I'm taking Warlock in, class advantage. Just want to parry and get infections on him and kind of slow roll the fight, honestly. Parry, 1-2 hit, parry, 1-2 hit, etc., etc. And you're going to see this Nightcrawler go down pretty quick. But it is my 100th win on the season. So pretty cool. Long season. But yeah, my 100th kill right there. Nightcrawler goes down. Our next two fights we're not going to show with Invisible Woman and Emma Frost. I kind of want to keep it under 15 minutes and get to the mini boss fights. So here we are at the mini bosses. I'll be taking on Corvus, Sinister, and Havoc. And I've got Warlock for Corvus. Didn't think this was going to be a difficult fight, but Corvus on pretty much stun immune. This doesn't turn out very well. So right now I'm just trying to, build up my infections. I can't really parry stun him. But I'm trying to get a parry off to get the 5 viral infections, or technoviruses, sorry. So here I get to an SB2, and it just feels like I'm not doing any damage to him. All the while, all Corvus's hits are critical, even on block. So I'm taking quite good damage from him at this point. And then here I get clipped, and that's it. I mean, this is a fight, being that he's stun immune, you have to sustain, and if you're not sustaining then and getting hit, you're not going to survive this fight. So right now I'm just trying to do as much damage as I can and stay in this fight. I'm kind of frustrated, and I come to the realization that this is going to be a death for sure. But I'm just trying to do as much damage so we can go back in and possibly clean up. So here I get parried, boom, and I go down. So Corvus, that was interesting right there. I never faced him there, but I go back in and finish him up. But let's move on to the Sinister fight. So like I said, we cleaned up the Corvus fight. Now we're moving on to Sinister on Plague Mind and Recovery. And again, Human Torch, his utility, man, he's such a good matchup for this. Because with 3 incinerates, he basically is going to stop the regeneration on Sinister. The energy damage from Sinister's SP1, as you can see there, gives me smolders, it builds my temperature. So all I want to do at this point is just maintain a high temperature and keep incinerates on Sinister, and you'll see me do that here. And I mean, he's just melting. Human Torch, I pulled him months ago, and the more, even now that when I'm using him, it just, he's becoming more and more one of my favorite champs that I like to use on my roster. So you can see right here, this Sinister just melts. I mean, it was over. It was over. So Sinister is down. Our next fight, we're moving on to Havoc on Stun Immune, Bleed Immune. Just as you see here, I'm going to heal up my Warlock. We're going to take Warlock into this fight, which again is a great matchup for Warlock, because we don't have to worry about plasma detonates from Havoc as long as our armor buff is up. So here, the name of the game is just parry. Of course, I can't get the parry stun, but again, to build up those viruses to get infections, and hopefully not have to deal with his SP1 as much. I really prefer his SP2. It's much easier to dex. So here he throws his SP1, and again, we're just gonna got a cheeky intercept off here. We're just gonna try to parry, get infections up, get viruses up rather, to build infections, and just beat him down more or less. Warlock is such a great counter to Havoc. Even on this node here, he throws his SP2, which I prefer. Here we're going to intercept and do our SP2, and yeah, Havoc is going down. Warlock is a fun champ. I first pulled him, I took him up because he was a god tier champion, but didn't too much like him at first. But now he's starting to become useful in a lot of areas for me. So now we're going to go here to the boss fight, which was a total disaster. Not a complete disaster, but it was a disaster. I mean, because it was a timeout. Obviously, I have a 4-star, which back when my roster had no 5 stars, I would still take on these boss fights, but this was a little bit overwhelming. Although I didn't get hit in this fight, but it definitely was a timeout, which I thought I had a shot. Here you see I open up. Basically with SS, I want to get to an SP3, and then once you get to an SP3, the fight's pretty much in control. The problem here, 2 things: my damage output wasn't high enough, and we're going to fast forward to the last minute. Sorry about that, but I didn't want to show that whole fight. But you can see here my damage output is not very good, and also his buffs, as far as his fury, it just doesn't happen often enough for me to gain power and cycle through SP2s and SP3s. So it's hard to get even more damage on champion from SS. But again, with it being a 4-star, I'm really lacking. But as you can see, there's a few seconds here to go, and I looked and I said, you know what, I'm not going to finish this fight. But we gave it everything we got. We did time out. I won't show me going back in, but I did go back in and clean up the fight, so we did lose that attack bonus. And the war, as you can see, we lost. But shout out to everybody. Thank you guys again for watching, and I hope to see you back soon. Thanks, guys.